Hello, 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 and greetings. Welcome to Storytime with Stephanie. I am Stephanie Outen, your host, and I'm so glad to have you all with us tonight. Whether you watch live or on the replay, you are in for a treat. Storytime with Stephanie is a segment of the Writer's Anointing podcast where we share tips, tricks, and tools about the writing process to help you release your writer's anointing. And Storytime with Stephanie gives new, upcoming, and existing authors the opportunity to share about their stories, share their books, powerful stories of transformation and inspiration to help others on their transformative journey, as well as others who want to write books. And so tonight we have another author with us, and we're pleased to have him with us. We have Markais Neal Sr. Markais is a 33-year-old retired police officer who was raised in the city of Tampa, Florida. He is a graduate of Armwood High School, and he attended Weber University, where he achieved his undergraduate degree. And his desire is to go to law school and help the unfortunate and misguided individuals within our society. He has his bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in security management. And he later became a law enforcement officer in Highlands County, Florida, as well as worked as a deputy sheriff for just a few years before transferring departments for various reasons. And so tonight, Markais is with us. He's going to be sharing from his book, Once Hero Turned Coward. I know it sounds like a very interesting title, but Markais is going to be here to share with us what this book is about, what his story is all about. And so I'd like to welcome him to the show. Markais, are you with us?
Yes, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
Hello, Markais. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. So you have written your book, Once Hero Turned Coward.
Yes.
Yes. And definitely a very, very interesting story that you shared about some things that happened to you in particular, and why at the age of 33, you are now retired from law enforcement. And so I want you to give the audience an opportunity to know a little bit more about you, and to share what brought you to the place of writing this particular book.
Okay. First and foremost, I'd like to give grace to my Heavenly Father, God, and Yahweh. And thank you, Stephanie, for having me. And
Absolutely.
bless Israel, which is the Holy Land. They're going through a tough time, but it's prophecy mentioned in Matthew 24. Um, Nation will rise against nation and kingdom amongst kingdom. So it's just prophecy. So me, I'm Markais Neal, 33 years old. I retired at 30.
Mhm.
And my journey was I wanted to be a cop since I was a kid.
Mhm.
And I was the first of my family to graduate college. I guess high school on my own fruition, not being forced by incarceration.
Mhm.
Um, and then so I had a lot of like, not really naysayers, but a lot of people who didn't see beyond the current situation. So it was more like, yeah, if you say so. Like, I don't be a cop. They say, yeah, if you say so. It wasn't like, no, you can't. It was more like, yeah, no one has done it within this vicinity. So
Okay.
we can't really say yeah or nay.
Mhm.
Oh, but I did it. Everything I've told my friends, it was crazy. Everything I've told them that I wanted to do, I've done it. SWAT team, a short stint at detective. Um, Although I didn't work a day as a detective, they still promoted me. Uh,
Okay.
so with that being said, it's like an honorary title to me.
Okay.
Uh, so I was on SWAT team, short stint in detective, FTO officer, training other officers as well. And within that, I have a very powerful mind, and not to boast. It's all from my father, but the job became very normal to me because I abided by the laws, and the laws are the laws. You know,
Mhm.
of course, you can kind of put them in subsections where it's like broken down into ordinances, but it became just I know my job and I'm just acting on what is. So it
Okay.
became this, I guess is the word monotonous to me,
Mhm.
where I just went and I'm just doing the same thing, different calls, but the same type of call.
Okay.
So one day, the God called me to a scene, and this journey led me to write this entire book.
Mhm.
It was the killing of a 17-year-old black male, and that day solely changed my life.
Mhm.
It was the revelation. resurrection, manifestation of great things to come.
Mm-hmm.
And with that horrible day, with God is governed through all this, that led me to write this book.
Okay. And this particular incident happened the day after Christmas or in the middle of the night. So it was December the 26th of 2018, correct?
Yes, yes, and I
Okay.
said it was like actually my Christmas because our cops the way we operate is 12s. So I went to work on Christmas Day, and my day doesn't change until I go to sleep and wake back up.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was still within that duration of them 12 hours. So my shift was Christmas, was still the Christmas atmosphere to me.
Okay.
But definitely that morning, like 2:35, I believe that a.m.
Okay. And so you were called to a scene, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what happened on December the 26th of 2018 when you were called to a scene about 2:30 in the morning. What exactly happened?
Well, it was a nightclub called Rumors that every weekend we have an issue, meaning there's a lot of a large crowd and typically fights or music violations and stuff like that. So we kind
Mm-hmm.
of, as a as an entity, we all gather there to, I guess, lessen the blow of us being needed. We're already there. So as we got there, everything's, people came out, everything's scattered out. And one of the guys said, "Hey, I believe it's a stolen car." And in me, I don't really like stolen cars. I can chase anyone on my feet, but cars are like, it's very dangerous. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not really into that. So when he said that, I'm like, yeah, yeah. And still doing my job. And then from that moment, other guys went to a restaurant called Salem's, which is where the incident transpired.
Okay.
So when they got there, they said, "Hey, we have a large crowd. I need more help." So at that point, I was summoned there. They called my number and everything, 186. So I get there and it was crowd control. We, telling everybody to be quiet. And the situation I felt was I thought it was pretty calm because at
Mm-hmm.
that point, officers, we kind of gathered at this point because there was really nothing to say to anyone. Everybody got the
Okay.
music down. Everything's cool. And then one of the buddies, my buddy, but one of the officers, he said on radio, "Hey, dispatch, there's a stolen vehicle." So in me, I'm talking to one of my other guys, and I'm like relaxed on Christmas. I'm just relaxed, and I'm just like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And then he read out the tag, and as I'm looking at this vehicle right in front of me, is a black Camaro. Uh, he calls out the tag, and dispatch say 10-4 is reported stolen. So I'm just like, oh man,
So it was the car that was right in front of you that
right in
they
front of
had mentioned was a stolen vehicle.
even before that, even at the club, it was like the same guy who saw it mentioned on the radio, "Hey, I think I seen this vehicle," and that was the same vehicle. So
Okay.
when he said that, we all kind of like stay on the right side of the vehicle, which is the passenger side. And one of my buddies, my former buddies, he attempts to go up to the vehicle. Mind you, it's a Camaro. It's a two-seater, very dark tint, so you can't see inside. And
Mm-hmm.
legally, I knew you cannot tint you can't tint very dark like that. See,
Right.
and see, even that is so dark, it's kind of like your own reflection. It's how dark it was. You
Mm-hmm.
can't see it, but you can see your own. And I know also that in the state of Florida, you can't tint anything. You can't tint the front of your vehicle
Right.
below the A1 line.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay. I pulled my buddy back. I said, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "What?" I said, "Why would you go to the vehicle with your gun drawn and you can't see inside of it?"
Right.
Right? I say that makes no sense. So I'm thinking, I say, look, where can you see inside the vehicle? You can't see from the back because it's tinted and it's a small Camaro. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, let's go to the front because he was blocked in. It's a drive-through. He could not move. In my mind, he could not move. You had to barricade your way through. That was in my mind. So as I go to the front
Okay.
of, so you have the stolen vehicle and then you have a vehicle that's in front of it blocking it like this. And so I go around
Mm-hmm.
that vehicle and then on video, I'm telling the vehicle, I say, "Hey, stay here." I figured that it was two women. I figured in my mind, if these two women stay put, he has nowhere to go. He's blocked in from behind. He's blocked in from the front.
Okay.
The only place I can see inside is through the windshield. There's no other place that I could see in that vehicle. So I said, okay, I'm coming up the front. And I didn't know I was by myself. I don't think I ever knew I was by myself. I was just so fixated on the actual vehicle and the occupants therein.
So before that, so at that point where you said you were, fixated on that particular vehicle, the stolen vehicle, before that, you had one of the other officers was going to approach the vehicle, but you
Yes.
actually held him back from approaching the vehicle. And at this point, you now were, I guess in the lead, you were approaching that vehicle. And at that point, you realized that that officer was no longer there with you to back you up. So you were alone in this situation, correct?
It was like, yes, it was more like as he was finna pull out his gun, or he actually had out his gun, he was approaching the vehicle with his gun out. So to me, I'm saying if I was sitting in this vehicle with dark tint and I don't know who was in it at this time, I can't see.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a stolen vehicle and you can't see inside, and I see a cop coming to me with my gun drawn like this, and he can't see me, to me it was like, bro, it's too unsafe. You have to go to a place of advantage for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just walk blindly, is what you would be doing.
Right.
Say, hey, excuse me, it don't work that way. That's not how we're trained. Just somebody would like roll the window down and say, yes, sir. Would you like to step out of a stolen car?
Right.
And when I went to that point, I went to a whole new location. I went to the front because we was on the passenger. So I went to the front, which is a whole new avenue and the only place people could see. And I was by myself at that time, and I was very many yards back. I would say probably about at least 15, 20, 25 feet back. And I was approaching on foot with my gun drawn from afar, giving him many time, ample amount of time to see me, and I could see my other guys in the back, beyond my tunnel vision.
And were you saying anything at that point? Were you asking the individual in the vehicle to come out of the car? What was happening outside of you, kind of advancing, gun drawn? Were you saying anything at all that would alert them to the fact that you were trying to come to that particular vehicle?
Oh yeah, every verbal command that I put it directly in my book, and even in my testimony to any lawyer, same thing. It was just at the time I can verbatim say what I said, but now I can't. But it was commands for sure said.
Okay.
And my heart racing, and I'm just all I can think about is my training and think about my target, but the individuals in the stolen vehicle.
Right.
As I got to the vehicle. I made eye contact, and it was only I'm trying to jump out the way, and you can see in the video I'm backpedaling, and only when I jump out the way fully, but my knee, I'm so close, and it's just a reaction, like just as the vehicle here, it's like a self-defense. Just my motor is going, and I'm like fearful for death. You see me jumping, I'm fearful.
Right.
So going by slow motion, still shooting, and then the car passes me. And then at this moment, the car stops. It stops, slows down, and then it speeds up and goes into the building. And now
so the vehicle that you were, the vehicle that was reported stolen, at that point you were, trying to advance towards this car. You were repeating some verbal commands for them to know that you needed them to stop, get out of the car, all those things. And at that point, the car just began to advance forward. Although there was a car in front of them and a car behind them, did they crash into that car? What was that process?
So as I'm advancing forward, you can see as you make eye contact, it's more like a cut the wheel, because the way I came, the only way it was let's say a drive-through. So it's like a turn a little bit. It's not really straight. It's a car like here, angled here. So you can maneuver if you so choose, but just the logic, me, I'm just like, man, it was very fast. I'm like, you can't go nowhere, in and out. Many police, everybody, literally our whole unit, south and north, was here.
Okay.
And it's police cars blocking off, like not blocking off, but we behind the entrances, our lights are going. So I'm like, you see our presence is here. So I didn't really think initially said it that it was what it was.
Right.
It was like to me, it was like police lights are going. Like why would you decide to come into the drive-thru? But at this point, I'm going up and cut the wheel coming towards me. I backpedal. And like I said, the avenue of escape that I chose, I mean, at the time, I couldn't even tell you, hey, yes, I knew this was here. It wasn't like that. It was more like me doing my job, and God just intervened to allow me to escape the death.
The path of the car, right?
Because I could have been, rolled over.
Mm-hmm.
So once we got, the car took off, slowed down, and the guys from behind me shot as well. 2 other officers shot.
Okay, so as the car was driving, the reported stolen vehicle was driving, the officers behind you were shooting at the vehicle, and you were shooting at the vehicle as well?
Yes, I'm coming up front, and they are behind.
Okay.
And the vehicle at this point coming towards me, like I said, I didn't shoot until I was out of all options at this point.
Okay.
Because like I said, I
Okay.
didn't know. It just happened, the maneuver.
Mm,
But as I'm, and the thing about this, I want to say this. Once I tried to harm myself twice because of that day,
mhm,
but only from the my trauma did I actually break away from the chains of the world to even listen
mhm,
to our Father who's above all. And then I
mhm,
spoke with the mom, and she forgave me, at least through her words, and she cried, and I cried as well. And she
mhm.
sent me another video that I never saw.
Well, let me ask you this before you talk about that. So, in this process where officers behind you were shooting, you were shooting, there clearly was a lot going on, and I'm sure that in your heart there was fear because you initially almost got hit by the car. There was a lot going on. This was a public scene. So I'm sure that there were a lot of people around and anxiety, taking place. And so here it is, all this shooting is happening, and then what got you to the place, and I want you to share, especially because some people don't have the book, but what happened to get you to the place of realizing that the person in the vehicle was deceased at that point, had been killed by one of the bullets that
Oh,
apparently had come from your gun.
so as it was very slow but fast. It's a very hard. That's complex to explain.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
and I say that because it was very slow, but still in actual time it wasn't that fast. So
Right.
as the car takes off, it hit a building, another car hit other cars, and then slid into another building. And with that, it's like the tires then begin to kick up dirt and rocks. So at that point, I'm like, man, something is obviously something's going on because he ain't stopped
Right.
taking off the pedal. So at this point, I'm like, man, it might be still my mind is going. So
Okay.
now I'm trying to just see if I can see inside the vehicle. So someone jumped out initially, which was a young lady,
Mhm.
and so many bullets got fired. I believe I'm just throwing out a number. I truly don't know off the head, but many bullets got fired, and she didn't get struck at all.
Wow.
And I was telling her it's the grace of God because luckily I saw her, and through I don't know what they saw through the back. I can't contest for what they saw, but I saw
Right.
it because I can truly say I don't know how they saw anything other than what I saw because I had a clear point of view. Everything else
Mm.
was tinted, unless the windows.
Mhm.
So on their end, so for me, I'm just saying like I, uh, I, that woman jumped out, and now I'm looking through the vehicle. I see him slumped over. I say him. It was respectfully. His name was Michael, and I seen Michael slumped over. And at that point, I'm just like, I don't see any blood. I'm on this side, so I go around here and just like I don't see no movement. And then now it's just me by myself, and
Mhm.
this is me by myself, and I turn around. This is crazy. I turn around and I see maybe a few four maybe it just thought I'd never 4 or 5 officers standing there with their guns like this. But I'm the
Mm.
one in the front, so it's the car. There's me, and then there's everybody else. So in
Okay.
my mind, I'm like, why am I only one standing here like this to his car? So I look, and they
Mhm.
say, hey, Markais, go in there and go get him out. And I'm like, why am I getting him out? This is going
Right.
through my mind through all the stuff, and it's kind of making me mad because I'm just like, bro, what are y'all doing? So I'm standing there, and my mind is going. I'm looking there. Say, hey, Marquise, get him out. So I go in there, and I have my gun. I'm just looking, and in that moment, it wouldn't happen. It was lifeless. It was lifeless to me, but I didn't see any blood. I said, okay, maybe,
Mhm.
maybe it's something that maybe he passed out. Something. I undo the buckle seatbelt. I get him out. Um, and now at this point, I'm trying to get him to a level ground.
Right.
So at this point, I get help, and we get him to the level ground. We doing CPR, and now I'm looking for bullet holes. And we are working as a team to save his life. And one person went to get the AED. I'm doing CPR. Other person looking for bullet holes, and we switch. And so at this point, I'm looking for bullet holes. I'm finding different ones, and the one that I
Mhm.
found that was the fatal shot was in the back of his head.
Mm.
So at that moment, I just stopped and I just cried, man. And luckily, I wasn't doing
The
compression.
CPR.
I was the one looking for the bullet hole. So I just broke
Right.
down crying, and it was just like, man, it's knowing. And then we did what we could do, all of saving measures we could. We got him off. We got him up off the ground and put him into the ambulance. Several minutes later, and
Mhm.
someone took a shot at us as we stood up, like truly trying to, trying to kill us.
Wow.
So once again, we all scattered, and police got police waves, I guess, corner here, trying to figure out who shot at us, and
Hmm.
everything was going.
And so
That,
you were approximately 27, 28 years old when this took place. And so you yourself were also fairly young, right?
yes,
You were
yes.
a young man, and here it is, you were in a situation that was life threatening in all accounts, life threatening to you, life threatening to those in the area, and of course, life threatening to Michael, the young man who was killed. And you had an emotional breakdown, as CPR was being performed, and you recognized that he had been shot in the back of the head, and that was the shot that fatally killed him. Now, you were mentioning that his mom, had gone through the process of forgiveness and forgiving you, but there were so many things that happened. It's a very layered and complex story. And so, again, we're talking with Markais Neal Sr. about his book, Once Hero Turned Coward. And it's always so challenging for me to kind of read that title, because, to say, to call yourself a coward in a situation, it would really, cause a question why. And so when people read the book, they'll recognize why you say that. But I would certainly say that you were in no way a coward. Um,
It's definitely
you,
a metaphor. It's for
yeah, it is.
it's for
It is.
spiritual, and mainly for spiritual reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I say it because when we reject the power of God, at that moment, we become a coward at any moment of our life. And he was born into sin. So until you find him, you are a coward to his wisdom, to his knowledge, to
Mm-hmm.
everything, because you don't stand up for what's right. That's the definition of being a coward.
Mm-hmm.
So at that moment, it's not about that situation, it's what derived from that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Mm-hmm.
acknowledged, and I'm 33 now, which is when Christ left the earth the first time. So for me, I'm growing into what was. So I was once a hero in uniform, and all the accolades. I got the two highest awards that any officer can receive,
Mm-hmm.
and even from my first agency, I got a letter of commendation where I chased down a gunman who shot directly in front of me. So it's more of like I was hero in uniform, and I became a coward to life when I attempted to end something that wasn't mine to end.
Mm.
No, so
Woo.
it's very that it's like many prophets ran from their calling, and many prophets too ended their own life, such as Samson pushing the pillars down. You got the prophet falling on his own sword. So for me, it was like, but it wasn't my time. Although I was running from something that I had no knowledge of, but now on my sixth book I do.
Yeah.
But I was running from a greater calling, even that I could even fathom, and it
Mm.
was beyond the uniform.
Yeah, beyond the uniform. And so I just want to just stop for a minute just to thank everyone who has joined us live. If you have any questions or comments that you want to share, please feel free to type them in the comments and we will put them up on the screen. I'm talking with Markais Neal Sr., who's the author of Once Hero Turned Coward. He's sharing his story, and Markais has written about six books at this point?
Yes, I'm on my sixth one.
Six. Yeah,
I'm
but
on seven, and I'm done.
oh, seven, and he's done. Okay. And this particular book is in regards to the situation that he faced when he was in law enforcement, where unfortunately he had taken the life of a 17-year-old young African American male. Erica says, "Did you feel called before that incident?"
That was a powerful question, and I say brazenly because without shame, no, I didn't. I was doing my job in the flesh, and
Mm-hmm.
only until it's like God finds you in a certain form of trauma, and I say it because when you feel you had enough, who did you call on? And
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna test you in many ways until those tests, the lessons become actual blessings from the wisdom gained from the knowledge therein.
Amen.
So no, I no way. If I did, honestly, truthfully, I can say within my heart, I would have been ruined even more, because
Mm.
I have this power that I didn't know I have, nor was I ready for.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I and to me, it's like the I seen your plaque on your wall, and it's one of my books, The Boy into Man.
Mm.
It reference what I'm looking at about the
Mm-hmm.
woman,
Yeah.
and for me, it's like imagine a boy asking grown man questions.
Mm.
Two a boy himself, which is looked at as a man. If you're truly not a man of God, what kind of man are you?
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it was like it was like the blind leading the blind, and I was just in the flesh of the world as we all are until we break away and then
Right.
know our wrong.
I definitely want to I want to hear more about your journey to Christ and really, how you were able to get to that place of um, stepping outside of the flesh and really becoming who God had created you to be in the spirit. But I want you to take us back a little bit. After the incident happened, you faced a lot of challenges, right? You really were taken through the ringer. You mentioned earlier on that you attempted suicide a couple of times. You had two suicide attempts, if I remember correctly. You faced homelessness. I mean, you were living in your car. You had a lot of things happen to you as a result of this particular situation. So help the audience understand kind of how things spiraled, how you were treated within, law enforcement, how you were treated in the community, and then when you made that decision to finally say enough is enough, and step out of law enforcement to shift into where God has called you to today.
Um, so I was working for a year and a half after the incident,
Mm-hmm.
and I was called every name you could think of, man. I mean, I can't say so many names on here, but
Right.
everything from the black MF to that's the one that killed the kid, and I mean everything you can mention. But I never, at first, I'm like, man, I did my job and this and that, but and even still, I didn't acknowledge God at that point. Still
Right.
doing my whole career, I didn't acknowledge my father as I was taught when I was growing up, because I cried to him to get the job. I was praying and
Yeah.
then I became a man, the hero that I'm speaking about, truly in the uniform. And it's like I forgot all about him and the grace in which that was bestowed upon me. So he kind of like humbled me very quickly, but then gathered me for a much more greater thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I shall get and receive more than I lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going through a dark place. A lot of people was, coming by my house and threatening to do this, threatening to do that, and a lot of lies surfaced, men. And it's like you thought people was your friends that you realized wasn't.
Right.
I lost all my officer friends. It's fun. I lost them all, man. And it's like I'm okay because honestly, it's like this. I put it like back in like Moses' days. Moses grew up in an unfamiliar place, given
Mm-hmm.
his, what happened, and she drew him out of the water.
Yeah.
So when he came to, what happened? He slew somebody and threw him in the sand. He gone. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I didn't. I was a kid growing up into the system that actually was created to catch slaves. Man, I didn't know that. So I'm just truly going through the motion, and only when God Himself humbled me and like set me down and say, it's more like a life lesson for sure, but it's more like, okay, now this lesson is over. Here's your anointings. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's not just for you because I made it through. My heart is clear, my mind is clear. And
Right.
that's how, even through my books, it's like, test those spirits.
Yeah.
Truly, the 1 John 4, verse 1 through 3, test those
Mm-hmm.
spirits for their righteousness. And to me, it's like, through the fruits of their heart shall you know, you know? And it's like, from that point forward, it's like I'm escaping so much of my trauma from that day. So I know I keep veering off of it, but it's
That's
just
okay.
I'm living beyond. Like I said, I've wrote like five books on my sixth one right now, completed 5. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
my mind has grown beyond that. But through that
Right.
trauma, a lot of treasures and gifts, through life.
Yeah. Now, it's so interesting to me when you say you lost a lot of your officer friends, or pretty much all of them, and you were, called every name and, really taunted in your own workplace. But in that particular situation, as shared the account, there were other officers that were shooting as well. And it's unfortunate that it was the bullet from your gun that caused the death, but it wasn't as if the other officers were innocent in this process. They also
We
were
don't even
shooting.
know that.
Everyone was shooting. Say it again.
Sorry to interject, but we don't even know that it was my bullet. That's what I now
Oh.
too have come to believe in my heart. It was a black cop, white cop, and a Arab cop, I guess. And they chose the black cop. I was in the front. I looked like I did it, so why not? I didn't do it.
Because the odd thing, and that's where I was wondering, you mentioned that the bullet was in the back of his head. You were forward, right? You were in the front of the car and there were other officers in the back. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's where I was kind of like, then
Now,
how was it
as
his?
I shot forward, the car is coming, it was very like fast motion. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm still shooting, and I got a few shots off as the vehicle's going because it was
Okay.
very fast. But the thing about it is the leverage that they had, man. Like from the video the mom showed me, they was like planted their feet. They was ready and aimed. I'm jumping around, truly in fear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much fear they had. So with that being said, their projected shot to me should have been more concise. And with that, the accuracy of that shot into the head, that ain't me.
So there was no ballistics report. There was nothing from the autopsy to show like whose gun this bullet, the bullet that killed this young man, Michael, right? Because we can identify him by name. There was nothing to prove that it was a bullet from your gun that ended his life. So with that being the case, I saw in your, okay, Erica says that's the question that I had. How'd they know it was, your gun?
They're clever.
So
They don't. They're clever. And then when I say clever, I would say cunning, because we know clever is the good word to use. Cunning is what it was. It was a level of disguise. So this is what I mean. You look at the video, you see me blending up, the black man come from the front. It clearly looked like, I did initiate everything, but it clearly looked like I did it. I was jumping in fear. I'm shooting. So it looked like I did it. But now when the mom showed me the video, I frame by frame, it was slowed down. And I'm like, hold on. They shot like he nearly shot right before I did. How you can say when my level was fear was there? Because me, I only shot just as the car was right there. You shot like so. My question to him is like, I say, Officer 2, I put a passage about it, declaring everything. My innocence. I'm innocent. So for me, I'm just like, when did your fear happen? Was it before or after mine? Because you're not in fear, so yours is solely based on my fear. So I asked you, shooting simultaneously to me, when did your fear happen? And so for me, it's like now they have, this is how it is. This is how clever they are. They say, okay, and I'm just throwing out numbers respectfully. I don't remember the actual number.
Right.
They say, okay, Markais, you shot 10. This other guy shot 9. This other officer shot 7. I say, okay. They say, well, and that's it. I said, hold on, man. Where did my bullets come from, though? Where did my shots come from? I know mine didn't come from the head. So what they did cleverly was they just put 10 here, 9 here, 7 here. They never disclosed where they got them from. That's very clear. So you might just let this man take the fall, the scapegoat. He looked like he did it. Everyone declared that he did it. The Black Lives Matter, they all doing their thing. I'm just like, yo, y'all just check it. Not at the time. I was doing whatever they told. I was like, yes, sir, boss. Whatever you say to me, that's
right.
The sense of Markais, cut down your Facebook. Markais, don't talk to nobody. Markais, this is what, in a sense, like, hey, they showed me all this evil stuff about him. They ain't tell me nothing good about this guy, this kid. So they painted the perfect picture for the perfect scapegoat. But the problem, they didn't account for God intervening. Neither did I. They didn't account for that. So for me, I'm just like, hold on, man. So I now have put it this way: the gun that was used. Let me paint one more picture for you really quick. After the shooting, did you know the agency tried to get rid of all my guns? All the guns in the agency, they stripped them and got us new ones. Come on, man. What are y'all doing? I'm talking about truly, I don't know the time frame, but it was everybody get rid of their guns. We get new ones, man.
Wow.
But God told me to keep the gun. He told me to keep the gun. So the ballistics on that gun, it can be, when I get some money, I ain't got no money. I'm doing all this by myself, but later on in life, I want to get somebody to look into it. I told you, the whole case is based off my well-founded fear. Yeah. So I say, put me on trial for murder. I'm okay with, put me on with these other two though, because me and the DA who already showed the case in my well-founded fear, we can show I'm innocent. I don't know about these other two, man. Y'all gonna have to stand up for something, man.
Whew. This is, I mean, this is overwhelming. I saw a comment that came up a little earlier where Monica said officers can be ruthless. And I think in, the day and age that we live in, we're seeing more and more things happen with police officers that, would definitely cause concern. But hearing it from your own mouth as someone having been in law enforcement and experiencing the treatment that you experience, it makes us question, even more. Of the ethics and the morals within law enforcement in certain places. I'm not, trying to bash law enforcement altogether because I do believe that there's value in law enforcement. But people make up law enforcement, right? And human beings make up law enforcement. And so when human beings are not operating with levels of integrity and morals and standards, then we see things like this happen, right? Where someone like yourself is put in a position that you're not even given an opportunity to prove your innocence. And so in your book, you actually shared a couple of your letters that you had written to your legal counsel. Tell us a little bit about that, and what was that process that you were going through in writing those couple of letters?
It's more just telling it from my side. Like, let me tell you like this: every entity, between the government, between lawyers, between all this, my father's, to be respectfully, respectful everybody. My father is not really in all that, and I say because it's a certain liability they have to the people that's not being shown. And when you rule a day, but you get to the bottom of certain things, it's solely money, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's solely money. So for me, it's like I'm just letting them know, like, I'm not finna roll over. When I signed on those dotted lines, y'all said y'all gonna take care of me. Y'all ain't doing that. And furthermore, I wrote a letter to Attorney General, Miss Moody. I said, hey, I think I've been set up by my police department. This is the Attorney General. And she tell me, I don't even think she wrote it back. Whoever she or whomever she replied is an ignorant response, lack of knowledge, I would say, which is the definition. She said to me, well, go back to your chief and pretty much. I'm like, that's like that's like somebody at school saying his teacher, telling the principal that
Right.
touched him, and the principal telling them to go back to the teacher and just figure that out. I'm like, man, I say, man, the whole system is meant to be that way.
Yeah, it's warped. It's
Oh,
warped. Yeah,
so
it's designed to put you back in a negative space so that you're not able to advance and truly perform in the way that you're supposed to. This story just flabbergasts me. Like,
and honestly, I'm not angry, right? There's frustration there, and I want people, and these to a lot of my brothers and sisters of dark hue. We are, a lot of us are misunderstood. We are frustrated, not angry, because frustrated means we know with the powers within us, we are the chosen. And I'm saying chosen because it's 404 years. Slavery started 1619. It's 2023. That's 404 years.
Yeah.
You know, history repeats itself. Why we enslaved 4 years longer than everybody else have been? So it's like, it's time, man.
Whew. Marquise. Okay. So I know that you were sharing before about the mother, Michael's mother, and that she had come to you and she had forgiven you, right? Now you were also going through depression and post traumatic stress disorder, and really just putting you in a place of, and we know that depression is considered a mental illness, right? And so here it was, you were walking through all of these different feelings and thoughts, and putting pressure on yourself, believing that it was you that did this. And what did that feel like? What was that conversation like when his mother came and let you know that she had forgiven you?
It was unreal to me, and I say because through the nine fruits, some people say 12, but through the nine fruits of the heart, where and I say it because God is love, and the ultimate emotion is love. And with that being displayed amongst tears, man, it's like you can't fake certain things. And with that heartfelt, cry, there's certain words that formulate, together. It's hard to explain it. When you know, and it's just like certain words that comes after one another. Can you truly feel the presence of the actual, the emotion? So
Mm-hmm.
I was crying, and I was so happy, and it was just like clarity was there. I can't explain it. Like, it's nothing that I say, hey, I'm only finna reach out to you so you can forgive me so I can find God more.
Right.
No, it was like through the clarity of this, through the clarity of that, through this, through that. It's like my God was like, son, you are learning your lessons. And through learning your lessons, you kind of gravitate to the truth of those, and they turn into blessings to help and stuff like that. So I cried, and she kind of told me her vision on it, and she asked me, she said, be honest with me. And I'm a man of God. I ain't nothing to lie about. I test the spirits. It's like I'm on my sixth book. You got a lot of words to chastise at this point. So for me, she said, was there any foul play in the killing? I'm like, man, I don't like, no way, not in my eyes. No, it's nothing that I have done. I'm putting my truth out there. So and she felt that, and she clearly believed it because the conversation continued. So for me, I'm just like, man, I'm standing 10 toes down, and I'm just like, place all us on trial for murder, man. But my defense is what the DA already said, man, because it's true.
Right.
So they just have to justify their parts. It's true. You can see it on video jumping. The video don't lie. The verbiage, it's there. But then theirs may be, just up for discussion at that point.
So at what point, kind of after you experienced all of this, and, you walk through your season of depression, you battle through post-traumatic stress disorder. At what point did you experience, or I would say encounter God and truly feel the love of God overtake your life to the place where you could step past this? This is not something that you ever get over, right? Because you'll always remember it. It's a date that is like sealed in your mind at this point. But what was the encounter that you had with Christ that brought you to a place of now having the clarity and the vision and the anointing that God has placed on you to be the man of God that you are today? What was that encounter like?
It's funny to me, but it's kind of like horrific, I guess, in the flesh. But when I first found God, I was married, and I was on the dock on the lake, and I've had a little writing laptop, and I'm just writing. I don't know what I was doing. I'm just writing, and I got out the first words of saying that I'm Christ, but it was in my heart, and I got it out, and I jumped up. I'm just like, and I took a picture. It was the first picture that I ever took when finding him, and it's on my website, healing-faith.org. And the sky was like, God put it, it was like beautiful on one side, but not lit. And it was like sunny on the other side. And I'm just like, I jumped up and I went and told my wife, I said, hey, I'm Jesus. And then she looked at me and she was like, man, I ended up getting Baker at it and everything.
I was going to say, what did she, when you said that, what did she say?
I ended up getting Baker at it and everything. But so after I got out, it was crazy because I got, 3 days to myself. I got out. And as soon as I got out, I said, take me to Best Buy and give me a laptop. So I went to Best Buy and bought a laptop. And from that moment, this way this book came from, this way all the others came from, in the Bible, of course. And for me, it was the medical marijuana when I started smoking. 9/22/2021 was that date. And it's from that moment, I had to accept who I was. I was like a child in Christ. I found him. So him is the only man that matter. And I got a date attached. I got photos, got everything that the world deems, if I say you got pictures of your child, a date, everybody know the date of their baby's birthday, pictures. I say, man, what about when you found God? Let me see some of those pictures, because I'm telling you, it's very glamorous. It's very to yourself. You just you're glowing inner and outer image, And to me, it's just, I found him that day, and it was 9/22/2021. And from that day, it was just, man, I can't. I mean, my book explained it a lot better than I can. There's a lot of parables, a lot of like allegories in there. And it's those who can see beyond their tangible sight, I would say. I want to get too deep, but it's just like, so you have flesh, which is your conscience. You have subconscious, which is women calling it women intuition, or it's like when death is lurking. That's God, man. Like, you don't have to wait till death is lurking on your husband cheating to figure it out, man.
That's true.
Tap into it. And so the average, very small things, like when the human way is like, they'll get into the spirit maybe on a Sunday, maybe maybe on a Wednesday when Bible study, something like that. And you get into the spirit maybe if others is just praising and all that, two or more, right? And then it's me, it's just like, man, since that day, it's like, man, what can I do to get out this pain? I can't play the game no more. I can't watch football no more. I'm just like, I'm just writing books, but I'm going to school for carpentry on the 30th of this month.
Okay. Okay. So
And
I was going to ask you. So now, that you have been able to kind of process through some of the traumas and the things, because one thing you said, it was very poignant to me, is that you had to get to a place of desiring to heal. Right. And I think that was very important. So many people stay in trauma because they don't have the desire to heal. Sometimes the trauma feels easier. Right. They can get comfort in the trauma, but you didn't want to stay in the trauma. You desired to heal from the trauma, and being able to encounter Christ and come to a place of knowing who you are in him has really transformed your life and allowed you to get to the place of wanting to help others transform theirs as well. Because you want to do, so much work with the homeless community because you were in that situation. You want to do so much with people who are dealing with mental illness because you were in that situation. So what are some of the things now that you're doing, in this next stage of your life? You're already writing book number 6. You're going to carpentry school. What are some of the other things that people should know about you as Markais Neal Sr., this new transformed man?
Honestly, I definitely want to. I'm learning to want to do it, but it's definitely a force onto me. And I say it because what God does, He stripped all of like my happiness amongst other things. Like, oh, you like playing a game? Well, you can't play the game if you got a passenger, right? So it's more. It's more like that. So for me, it's like this: to get someone out of depression, give them something to be passionate about, and that's just being honest. Give
I
them
love
something
that.
to be passionate about. And it's just through the parables, I say parables, your illustration onto their life because they're depressed. They ain't gonna say much. So you knowing them as a friend or a coworker or whatever, that's why you have the power to pull out the greatness within them, because you just remember as a friend what held your friendship together in the first place. You know what I'm saying? You'll be all right. But me, I love hiking. I love the beach. Spiritual dips. I've done them. Went to Jerusalem. I've walked the 14 steps of Jesus.
Nice.
Baptism and baptism in the same in the Jordan River. I got this from there, and I had
Awesome.
to relive. And it was crazy. On Father's Day, I was there, and it's like, and it's not like this. That's like I abandoned my own child. My father telling me he need me here, and I'm on the phone like, son, Daddy love you, man.
Yeah.
The man who is greater than us all,
He required you to be there.
Yeah. So I'm just like I said, I'm going to school. I'm ready for school. My mind is kind of exploding. I can just write for days.
Good.
But now I'm writing I'm listening to instrumentals. I'm putting my own words because I write. I'm like more I put it like this: God is a presence first. He's word, and then he's the tangible of everything we see. So he saw it before the word had a form and stuff like that. So for me, it's like his presence is always within me. I'm just trying to find ways to keep the spirit happy, because unless the spirit is reading the Bible, unless the spirit is transforming a life and just getting knowing someone, it's like I'm trying to find happiness amongst the tangibleness of the world. Anything, the things I could touch, and even in people, it's just like the root of David. I get to the bottom of things. So I'm always not trying to fix nobody, but I'm just like, I can't be around a person that has not accepted themselves.
Right.
Because I see who you are, and in me, I just want you to be the best version of yourself. Which is
absolutely.
So
and one of these tangible ways that you are able to manifest the things that God is calling you into is your books. So tell us a little bit more about some of the other books. You don't have to go into detail, but tell us kind of the themes that you share in some of the additional books that you have. And all of Markais's books can be found at healing-faith.org. We have it running across the screen. We'll also make sure that it's in the comments. But we're, wanting to read it off as well. Monica says, thank you for sharing your story. So yeah, it was definitely
I'm a vessel.
Definitely a powerful story. And tell us a little bit about some of the themes in the other books that you've written.
Okay, so this is my first published, but actually my second written. When I was on my trip, my homeless adventure, I wrote a Pastors First Atlanta, and so that was during my whole, homeless adventure, and everything was very powerful. And then, so my first book was actually Worldly Oppression. It was Worldly Oppression. So when I first found God, every issue that I remember and that those who I spoke to with first gathering the spirit remember, I wrote about it. And I wrote it from there, sometimes from my emotions and sometimes from theirs. It's the way the spirit worked. They was angry, I was angry. If you hated them, I hated them. you know, so that was that one, and then obviously it was this one, and then another one is the third one. It's like, I think it's at 47,000 words. It's Worldly Maniac unto Spiritual God, and I say that because I'm stripping away from any title there is among this world. I'm a spiritual being, so any the coward, the ugly, the whatever you want to call, I'm like, all right, I know God though, and when I go, I'm trying to take y'all with me. Y'all coming,
Right.
so it's that was just in telling the more of how I pertain certain gifts, the seven spiritual gifts, which are the words, and I kind of put them in very many parables in there for the people. And then the other book is Once Coward, Forever Hero. So it's a sequel to this.
Okay.
The meaning of that is I was once a coward to life and all that stuff, but now I accept the power of God within me, so I'm a hero again. You know what
I
I'm saying?
love it. I love it.
And it's 33 chapters in commemoration of Jesus and his death. And then the other book is when I went to Jerusalem. I started, so I wrote it in like 2.5 months. When I went to Jerusalem, I came back. It's the King's real rival to the rich land of Via della Rosa, and Via della Rosa is the road that's a hard road travel, the road less traveled. And then the King, the real rival, is I went there just to come back, and to me, it's just like I gained so much more confidence after after I came back to the States. I gathered that whatever the Spirit had there for me, I got it, and I did whatever I had to do, and then I was done. And then that was that book, and I don't know if that was five or what, but it's like I can't stop the knowledge from flowing. It's more
Yeah.
and telling because if you're in the Spirit, that's any person that's in the Spirit, they can, through your words, you can show, you can show with vision, right?
Yeah.
You can show what you are seeing, which is what God is showing you, and you can write, you can do things for other people, his other children, to like awe about it. But it's like, it's like you give it to God because it's Him,
Yeah.
and through us, which is His greatest creation, He shall be shown. It's a collective.
Amen. Markais, you are a man full of wisdom and knowledge, and I can tell that it comes from the time that you spend sitting with the Father, literally sitting in the spirit realm with the Father to hear from Him. And what you shared with us tonight was so powerful, and just to see the transformation, because we can see it on you, right? The transformation that you've gone through from the incident back in 2018 to where you are today, allowing God to truly just work in you and use you in the way that He has been using you. And I am just delighted to know what He's going to do next for you. I know that He's going to really propel you and put you on platforms where you're able to share with others, not just through the past story, but the things that He has you walking through today. And so I just pray that He continue to just, do His best work through you, and that you continue to allow yourself to be that vessel so that you can be used to help all those that come into your path. Because there's amazing things coming for you, young man. I'm really proud of you. And I just thank you for being a part of the show. I thank everyone who joined live. I thank you for those who will listen on the replay. Storytime with Stephanie is aired also through the streaming platform. So you can listen to it on any of the streaming platforms, the audio version. You can come back to the Stephanie Outen Literary Doula page on Facebook to see any of the replays. You can also find Storytime with Stephanie on YouTube at It's Storytime with Stephanie. So you can go back and watch all of the past episodes. This episode with Markais will be there as well. But again, I want you all to support this young man, his vision, all that God is doing with him. So you can go to his website, www.healing-faith.org. So you can know more about him, what he has upcoming, purchase his other books. And I know, Markais, you wanted to share one of your poems. So I'll give you that opportunity before we start to wrap up the show.
Oh, wow. Okay. Stand by. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna read this, and can you still see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this, when I listened to your podcast this morning, I was preparing. I listened to one before as well, but this one in particular kind of like sparked my heart a little bit and kind of made me cry. So
Okay.
it was the one with Sonya Dalton. I
Oh,
don't know.
yes.
I don't know. I don't know who
Sonia
she
Dalton.
is, but I heard the podcast. So I wrote a poem for her,
Oh my
and
God, she's gonna be floored when she hears it. She's actually she's a celebrity trainer. She's a fitness trainer. She was formerly a part of the WNBA. She
oh, what?
has a powerful, amazing story as
Yes,
well.
I
And
heard
now,
it. I heard
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, and she's now my personal trainer as well. So I just saw her this morning, and I cannot wait to tell her
So yeah, tell her she
that you
made
wrote
me
a poem
cry.
for her.
Tell her she made me
Yeah,
cry with the workout in my system. So I know.
I
So
will.
so here it is. Like I said, I was listening to it and I cried and stuff. So Sonia
Wow.
Dalton, you are one of a kind. Kingdom among the ace. Your niece shall be better in no time. Through cancer and chemo, you made it through. As kiss kiss is your favorite line. My heavenly Father and I, Jesus Christ, offer the same spiritual kiss unto you. Unlike the physical kiss of Judas, our kiss delivers a jolted spark. Created with an image of God, true beauty is defined and aligned within your heart. The testimony declares faith, just as your tangible presence is no waste. See, Judgment Day wasn't so bad. I just opened my heart unto yours. Therefore, my Heavenly Father heard your cryable case. You are worthy beyond worldly measures. God reveals your inner pleasant treasures throughout each spoken testimony until now and your future spiritual endeavors. Continue to blow your horns amid any crisis. My Heavenly Father is within you. Stage 4 cancer didn't stand a chance. Spiritual liberation among the righteous. Bald head with a hat or head full of hair. Your inner light is godly. True inner beauty many women seek, but only a few women can bear. Many are called, but only a few are chosen. Through the fruits of your heart, I cried as I felt the things your spiritual heart was holding. Real lashes or no lashes, your glow is unmatched. You are anointed, kiss, kiss, unto your spiritual patch. A minute relationship between you and God is story time with Stephanie. Your testimony is filled with spiritual might like Moses' rod. I'm almost done. Exalted extremely high, as within your life you have prevailed. Stay on the rise and do not allow your grace to fall or fail. Moses onto his rock, Aaron and Hur held his hands in all. Continue your journey no matter the cause. You have many spiritual dates which welcome abroad as the Son of Man has returned. Here is the awaited spiritual applause. Everlasting spiritual growth, implying a goddess in the making. Remember the tree of life if your knee begins aching. Healing-faith.org. So I hope you get better and congratulations on beating everything. And God is for sure with you through your testimony. So, um,
Oh my God. Okay, Marquise. I was trying hard not to cry. Yeah.
yeah, I wrote them like it could have. I was trying to go to the gym, and I'm just like the spirit just moves it. You don't tell it; he do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
You're spirit first, then with flesh. When people understand that you'll move accordingly.
Oh my God. She is gonna be. I'm literally gonna call her and tell her she has to go and watch the replay. I don't think she's watching now, but I know she watches every show. So she'll definitely catch this on the replay. But if you don't mind, would you email that poem to me so I can send it to her?
Yes, I did. I actually did it already. You hear me?
Okay. Yes, now I can.
Yes, I've done it
Can
all.
you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I just appreciate you for sharing that, for writing that poem for Sonia. With this being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, that's going to mean so much to her. And I'm just honored to have had you as a part of tonight's show. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Marquise. Definitely hang back. I'm going to share a few closing words and then I'll reconvene with you after we close out the show. So thank you so much for being here with us, Markais Neal Sr., author of Once Hero Turned Coward. You can find all of his books at www.healing-faith.org. And again, I just value and appreciate you all for being a part of Storytime with Stephanie. This has been an amazing show. And I'm actually going to close out with something that Markais said in the interview in regards to when you encounter someone that's going through depression, you want to find something that they're passionate about, right? And be able to utilize that to help them and propel them into that next stage of where they're called to be. And so that's what I want to close with. I want each of us to find someone that we know might be walking through a dark place, that might be walking through some form of depression. And I want us to be able to actually go and find something that they can be passionate about and share with them. So thank you for joining us tonight. Stephanie, have a wonderful night.